Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I have something a little different for you, and although it involves this card, it isn't the card itself that is the difference, because this card was not made using a die, nor was it cut by hand with a craft knife. Instead, it is from a cut file which I designed on Brother's free software called Canvas Workspace, and cut it out on my ScanNCut machine. As you can see, it's inlaid, or paper pieced, and I cut it out in 3 different colors of cardstock: white, and then this sort of peachy pink, and the green as well. And as you can see, it would also be useful as a stencil as well as a topper or a background. I'm going to show you exactly how I designed this. I'm going to take you to the laptop and show you the Canvas program and how I put this together. I'm designing this card using the Brother Canvas Workspace, which is a free software application available from Brother for all ScanNCut users. And rather than have this as a step-by-step, I'm simply going to show you the process that I go through so that you can see how I go from start to finish in making this card using the ScanNCut. Enjoy! Right, that is all the designing done, and if only it were that quick in real time. But now it's time to export this cutting file so that it can be cut out on the ScanNCut machine. Now I'm going to export it twice. The first time I'm going to export it to my folder, which I keep my cutting files in, and then I'll transfer it to the machine. So I'm going to select here to export an FCM file. The FCM file is the Brother equivalent of the SVG. Alright, so this is my warning that comes up because I hid some items that I didn't want to cut, so they won't cut. I'm well aware of that, that's fine. And also, Brother will go ahead and remove any objects that are too small to cut. In this case, I don't really have to worry because the objects that they are referring to in this case are the text. They're actually drawing files, not cutting files. So because it's a drawing file, I don't have the same restrictions as I would have for a cutting file. But it doesn't know that I don't want to essentially cut that. So it just is something that I can override now and say okay, and I can export it. And I've got a file here that I'm just going to copy over called Pick Friends Card. I did a little bit of experimenting beforehand, so I want to choose that and I'll override it. Okay. And then I can export it to my machine. So I'm going to transfer it. And I'm going to send it by the internet because I have a wireless machine. So I can click on that. Depending on my internet connection, it will determine how long it takes. It doesn't usually take too very long. And then once it's gone through the cloud and to the machine, it will be available to cut. I can put my card on the mat, and that's when the fun begins. Everything is cut out now, and I've also prepared my card blank, and I'm just going to score that in half at 5 inches. So this will make a 5 by 7 card. I'll fold that and burnish it. And I'm also going to put on my mat. Now for the mat, I have already cut this. This is just a bit of some black card I had lying around, and I actually just took the center of it out to save on my card, and I'm just going to glue it to the outside of this card blank, and then I'm going to come in with another piece that's going to go over top. So let's get this down first of all. So I've got another piece which is going to be the background here, and I've cut out the flower, the stencil essentially, and I've cut it in 3 in white and then in 2 other colors. And as you can see here, these are all my little bits that have been left over that I'm going to use for paper piecing. So I can save these for another project. And this is going to get glued to the front of this piece. They're the same size. This is cut at 4.5 by 6.5. And then I'm going to be placing these pieces inside of the card. So to try and help me out a bit, I'm going to attempt to put it on this double-sided sticky pad here that I have. And what I'll do is going to lift that and attach it here. It's going to be pretty sticky, so I'm going to lie this down here as best I can, and I can always trim off any overhang. This piece I'm going to bring back over, and I'm going to go with the pink for the large petals, and I'm just going to let that drop down in there and press it in place. I'm going to do the same for these, and if it's got just a little bit of give time, and in fact what I can do is I can take a little bit of, let's take some of this glue here and put it down to give us maybe a little bit of wiggle time. So just let that rest inside of there. Got another one here. And then you'll put in the green next. You just sort of slide in there, just like a little puzzle. We've got our green, smaller petals. Go in there. Like so. And I'll just continue on, and you can watch. Everything is now inlaid, paper pieced, and not looking too bad, is it? So, next I'm going to take these pieces, and what I've done is cut some additional pieces out in just plain white cardstock so that I can give them a little more depth and strength. So what I'm going to do is to glue these together, and then I'll glue the, let's turn that around that way, I think. And then I'll take the coloured piece here. It's been cut out in the pink, and we'll put that here. Now I made a couple of changes since I downloaded my file. I decided not to go with the faux stitching in this case, and also I changed the font. I did it in this color, and I've done it in this color as well, and I'll make my decision on what I want to do. These are just some extra bits, so I'm going to put this down. So as I said, you can always change your mind once, even though you've downloaded the files. You can always go back into Canvas, make any fixes, and there we have that. Now that's going to go across there, and I'm not even going to need any foam pads because that is actually giving it quite a bit of dimension. So that is, I think that will be alright like that. So I'm also going to glue this to another piece of white cardstock, which I've cut out. And then I'll place it on top of this bit here. Then we can put it on the front of the card. We're almost finished, except for some last minute touches there. Let's get this across here like that. I've got just a little bit of border there. And what I can do also is I've got that white cardstock there, and also this card does have a white core in it. So I'll get my ink pads out and just go. Let's try this as worn lipstick, and let's go round the edges there. That will hide most of that white. Could have done that before we attached the sentiment. But there's that done. Now put the glue onto the back of this sentiment. I'm going to place it in the middle, but up a little bit higher than the center. And since I did not do the faux stitching, instead I'm going to put some other embellishments on here. I have a few of these rhinestone stickers left over, so I think I'm going to place them. We have an adhesive on the back, but I can reinforce that with just a bit of glue. And I'm going to place them around this petal. And I'm quite happy with that. Now, before I move on to one final bit, which is, I think I'm going to put some of these glossy accents on, but I want to get this stuff down to the actual card base first, because those are going to need to dry, and while they are wet, I don't want to take the risk of putting my finger in there. So I'm going to get this glued down to the front of the card base. Okay, now you can see, this black mat really helps that card to pop quite a bit. It's a fairly simple card, which takes a bit of time with the paper piecing, but it's also quite relaxing. So I'm going to take these glossy accents now, and I'm going to cover these petals here so that when this dries, it's going to be a nice glossy finish. Thank you so much for joining me today in the making of this card. I hope you enjoyed watching the process that I go through when designing something like this for the Brother ScanNCut, primarily using the Canvas software, which is, as I said before, a free software from Brother. It was not intended as a step-by-step tutorial, just to show you the process that I go through. But I do plan on doing future tutorials and workshops, projects, things that we can do together related to Canvas and to the ScanNCut. So if you have a ScanNCut or you're planning on buying one, I hope you'll keep your eye out for those tutorials, hopefully coming very soon. In the meantime, please be sure you're subscribed to the channel, leave a thumbs up, a comment below, share with your friends. Please stay safe and crafty hugs. Bye.